I also found myself networking a lot more with women's groups and true business groups because of this, because I really feel that it's important that we as women support other women, especially in the entrepreneur and business world. I think that that's critical.
Welcome to the La Dolce Vita Show, a woman's guide to living a fearless and fabulous life. My name is Heather Picken, and I am here to give you that winning formula so that you can get clear on your vision, stay true to your values, and break through those mental walls. Check out my free resources at heatherpicken.com. This podcast is brought to you by Fierce Femme Wine, a woman's wine that inspires dialogue for change. Visit fiercefemme.com. So let's get ready as we uncover the formula to your success in business, career, and fabulous life. Well, hello, everyone, and welcome to the La Dolce Vita Show, where I help you to break down the formula on what it takes in order to be a fearless and fabulous woman in the world today, whether it is going to the next level of your career or going to the next level of your business. And I will have to tell you, as a female entrepreneur, there are going to be challenges, and you really have to know how to navigate around that. And what better person to talk about challenges, talk about perseverance, is my guest today, Briana Bagg. Did I pronounce your name correctly?
Briana Bagg, yes. Thank you.
Yeah, I always get tongue-tied. And I want to share a little bit about her, and we're going to dive into her story. But she's been an entrepreneur for over 10 years, having began her first business while in college. So that's pretty interesting, in the digital marketing space. And she owns 3 businesses now. She marries marketing and mindfulness to create a new space in the marketplace. So Briana, thank you so much for being my guest today.
Thank you, Heather. It's a pleasure to be here.
And I really want to dive into this conversation. You know, it's like we could talk about, here's how you market your business. But to me, and I'm sure that you understand too, the true transformation really starts within really knowing who you are and, being able to break through some of those challenges. And one of the things I like to talk about or just kind of share with my audience, with my female audience is, how do you navigate around those challenges? And I know every woman has a story. And so if you could kind of give us the cliff notes of some of the things that, you were able to break through on your journey of doing exactly, what you're doing today. So let's go back to, because I'm kind of looking at my notes, is that you were in a male-dominated industry at 23 years old. Now, I know women that are trying to advance in their career are probably a little bit challenged. So if you could describe some of the things that have happened and how you were able to kind of push through, like really own your power, know maybe that wasn't, that industry wasn't for you, but, take us there.
Yeah, absolutely. I started my digital marketing company in college. I was 23 years old, and I, was about to get a degree a year later. I had no experience in the business world and certainly was not prepared to go out there and do sales and, run all of the facets of the business. At the time I was living in South Florida. And so when I talk about, I was in more of a male dominated area, not so much the industry itself. Marketing, I think, covers women, men, across the board, but South Florida was a very male dominated, in fact, a good old boy system. And so I had to learn how to sell in that environment to grow my business. And so the industry as a whole, social media marketing, which is the industry that I specialize in, was very new. It was back in 2008, 2009. We were also facing a recession at that time. So I unfortunately graduated at just the wrong time. And it was a very interesting, a lot of learning that had to happen. And so I stepped out into the workforce. Luckily for me, I was degreed in marketing, or that was the degree that I was pursuing. And so I was able to utilize some of my skills and abilities in marketing to get exposure for my business and to get visibility for the company. I got my first newspaper article published while I was still in school. They did a fantastic job, and that landed me a couple of my clients. Most of my clients at the time were males, and so I had to go in and explain this new Facebook, Twitter. We didn't even have Instagram back then. I had to go in and explain these sites and why someone would want to utilize them in their business. To the average was a 50 to 60-year-old man who was running his business. And I got to tell you, I had more lunch and dinner dates than I had business at the time. That was me being naive. I did not realize that me accepting these lunch and dinner dates were not business meetings. So I very quickly had to start learning how to decipher between the two. What was a real legitimate business opportunity and what was some guy trying to hit on me at the time. And then on the flip side of that, I used to get a lot of, "Oh, honey, that social media thing is just a fad. You'll see in a couple of years." And so I had a lot of challenges being so young in the business force, being in such a new industry, and then being in a male-dominated area as well, really having to learn how to decipher through all of that and pick the right opportunities. And also I had to learn, how to get a backbone very quickly, how to stand up for myself, how to say no, how to realize that me saying no to certain things were not going to keep me from the business because I wasn't going to get the business anyways. That's not what they were seeking. So it was very challenging as a young woman in that atmosphere, but I did learn a lot. I then grew from there. And
well, let me stop you right there with the
absolutely.
story, because I kind of look at what is going on today, and historically, where women have really, we've always had our power. I truly believe that, but we've been disempowered through our perception of, oh, this is how you should be or act. And I kind of like, I do appreciate your story, because you were faced with these challenges and you learned how to navigate around that. Like, wait a minute, I don't want to have this quote unquote dinner date. I'm a businesswoman. I have actually faced that myself. And, it's just interesting. It's like we really had to learn how to navigate around those issues. So I think having these conversations are really important, especially today. Women that are in the workforce that, want to stand in their power, especially with, sexual harassment, like all of the challenges as women, like we go through, but we don't have to let this stop us, right? We don't have to allow this to impede us to really own, our innate power.
Absolutely. We don't have to allow it to stop us. I think that the faster that we as women can start saying no, start learning, that this is not okay in the workforce. This is not how you build your business. You don't have to do things that you're uncomfortable with in order to get that position, or in order to climb the ladder, or in order to grow your business with the right sales. The faster that we can start taking a stand against these actions and saying no, I think that we're going to start seeing things shift dramatically in our favor. The reality of it is men don't really deal with that in the workforce. They don't go in for a job interview or go in to pitch a product or a service and they're getting hit on from the other side of the table. And I think sometimes we as women do feel like, if we don't take that meeting or that advance or whatnot, and not to say that we're acting upon it, but just that we're entertaining it, that we feel like we're going to lose something because of it. And that was the one thing that I had to learn very quickly was, I'm not going to lose that opportunity because it was never an opportunity to begin with. And quite frankly, dinner dates don't pay my bills. So I had to learn how to say no. I'm okay. Thank you. If you're interested in the opportunity, please let me know. Here's my proposal. And it was difficult. It wasn't an easy process. And it did take me a little bit of time to even realize what was going on, right? Because here I am, 23, 24 years old, thinking, oh gosh, I have all these meetings. Look, my business is so successful.
Exactly, and it allows us to be more assertive and say, bottom line, what is your intention around this? I'm not playing around with you. I'm
Right.
serious.
And
And I
I
just think,
actually
yeah, go ahead.
made a couple of jokes. I mean, they weren't jokes, they were serious, but I made them in a joking way. That I appreciate the offer, but drinks and dinner doesn't pay my Verizon bill, for example, or my rent. And I think that it's okay to say these kinds of things, and I always try to do it with a smile on my face and in a fun manner. But it's okay that we stand up for ourselves. It's okay that we take a stand and own our power. And I also found myself networking a lot more with women's groups and true business groups because of this, because I really feel that it's important that we as women support other women, especially in the entrepreneur and business world. I think that that's critical, given where we are as a society right now.
Yeah, absolutely. And I truly believe that, the things that are happening right now, I tend to shine the light on it and say, we can't have the quote unquote darkness without the light. And this is all going on. And so that we can transcend everything that has been happening. And so that there's going to be more of a balance in power in the world. We see
Yes.
this going on in every country, not just, in the US. So all of this is tied in for number one, women owning their power. Number two, women just, creating amazing businesses. And, if you have a career and you want to go to the next level, it really is internal. It's not external. Everything that you want is inside of you. And so let's fast forward to your journey now. So you're able to navigate around those challenges. You're able to break through those limitations, own your power as a woman, not let men bully you or just belittle you. So what were those decisions or that defining moment that took you to the place that you're in now, because now you're doing mindfulness?
I am. uh, you know, Being in digital marketing, it was a 24/7 job, or it is a 24/7 job. I do still work in that space. And I got to the point, through successful partnerships, um, once I learned to navigate the system a little bit through successful partnerships, I grew my company, my digital marketing company, to about 100 accounts. And, I was working basically 24/7. I didn't know how to take a break. Even on vacation, I was attached to my phone. I was constantly checking my emails, my computer, and I just didn't know how to relax. And when I was 27 years old, coming into my 28th year, my body honestly just said it had had enough. It was not a lot of sleep. I wasn't giving myself the proper time to reset. I definitely wasn't eating right, and I wasn't really on my A game, exercising and things like that. And so my body shut down on me. I lost a lot of weight, not to my wants, but just that I could not hold food inside of my system. My diet was very limited, and I had acquired this leaky gut syndrome and gluten intolerance. I had severe case of IBS from all the stress, and I just kind of realized at that point that also as a business owner, we don't have to, quote unquote, kill ourselves, right, to run a successful business. And it was that trivial moment in my life when I started pivoting and I started researching what a balanced lifestyle is, what a healthy lifestyle is. I think that, we do tend to run ourselves down. We don't take that vacation because we have work. Or when we are on vacation, we don't take that time to truly unplug. We choose business over fun and pleasure. And quite honestly, in order to be successful, when you look at people who are highly successful, it really is about that work-life balance. Otherwise, your body, there's only so much that it can handle. There's only so much that it can take. And so when I got to that point, that's when I found mindfulness, I found meditation, or it found me, however you want to put it. And I really fell in love with it.
I love it. And it's such a powerful story. Sometimes we have to get to that breaking point in order for us to slow down. So I know when I'm working with women, I'm like, are you following your unique formula? If you're not being true to yourself, then what happens is you'll create symptoms in your body as a feedback mechanism to your conscious mind to get you to wake up. So now you're waking up, you're realizing, okay, there's something to mindfulness, there's something to meditation. And so then you started to create a business around it, right?
I did. So the first step that I did was well, like most of us who try meditation, I began listening to a bunch of YouTube videos and had no idea, was I doing this correctly? What is meditation? How do I do this? So a couple years into it, I decided that I was going to get certified in meditation so that I could at least understand it for myself, what it is, how to do it, what the steps of it are. So I went and got certified, and I absolutely loved my certification. I came back and, I'm definitely an entrepreneur, but I didn't really know anything about the wellness space. Again, I've been in the marketing space, which is a completely different area for, at that point, 6, 7 years. And so I came back from my meditation certification, and honestly, I just started giving anybody and everybody who would lay down for 30 minutes and let me give them a session, I would do that. And then I started really thinking about this as, there's a lot of people who are out there like I was, where they don't know how to do it. They don't have the proper steps or the proper tools. They're probably listening to all these YouTube videos. And Heather, I don't know if you've ever listened to YouTube videos on meditation, but they're kind of all across the board. You've got, people who are talking at you, to people who are playing gongs, to, things that, I've had some really interesting videos that I've listened to, and I'm like, what is going on right now? And so I really started looking at meditation as a tool, especially for business owners and entrepreneurs and professionals, because I do feel like we go, 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 and we do have that hard time. Most of us are overachievers, or that A-type personality. And so I started to create a business. I signed my first corporate wellness account about a year after getting certified. And I just loved what I did. Every time I would go in and I would see the stress on everybody's face, and, the to-do list and the aggravation that was going on, and there were team conflicts and things like that. And by the time they left, everybody was relaxed and everybody was smiling and laughing and having a good time. And it just felt so good for me. So from there, I began to really look at it as a business, and how can I create something that can help the masses of people. And so I wrote a certification in meditation. I studied a lot of different types and forms and styles, because there are a ton of them out there. And I began to put together a 3-step process. And then I began to practice it on people, and it worked every single time. And that 3-step process is breathe, refocus, and take a journey, because it's my personal belief that when we're able to breathe to calm our central nervous system, refocus our mind from the chaos, responsibilities, to-do list, and then go to a beautiful place or take a vacation of your mind. It's my belief that we're able to come back from that experience and be more productive. We can be more focused. We're less stressed. And that's all of what research is showing for meditation today, are all of those benefits, and including improved health benefits as well.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, I love the benefits of mindfulness, having some kind of practice. So, and I'm a big believer in having like a success ritual. So what would you recommend as far as women, women, whether it be in their career or they're an entrepreneur, the first thing that they should do when they wake up in the morning?
Breathe.
Breathe.
I know that sounds crazy to think about being like something that I recommend, right? Because we have to breathe. Breathing is essential to us being alive. However, we we typically don't do focused breathing. Yeah, we inhale and exhale as we go about our day, or whatever, because it's a bodily function that has to happen. But I have really found so much help in focused breathing. And there are different styles of breathing that can actually help calm the central nervous system. The method that I teach in my program is inhaling and exhaling through your nose, focusing on the air filling your lungs, focusing on your abdomen rising and falling instead of your chest rising and falling, because for most of us, we breathe here in our chest, which can keep us in a fight or flight response. Back in the caveman days, when they had to stand and fight the animal, or they had to turn around and run from it. Unfortunately, we stay in that state almost constantly because of the stress that we're under. And what that does is it pumps cortisol into our system. And cortisol really is not healthy when it's pumped into our system all the time. It has its benefits, and it's there for a reason. But I like to refer to as breathing and meditation, and being mindful of your activities is kind of like when your computer's running slow and it needs to hit you need to hit the reset button. What do? You shut it down, you turn it off, you unplug it, and so that's really what breathing and meditation can do for our human body. It's that reset button. And so I encourage people to start their day with 2 to 5 minutes. If you can do 10, even better, but even 2 to 5 minutes starting out will significantly make an impact in your day of focused breathing, inhaling and exhaling, really making sure that you're filling your lungs and allowing the oxygen to fill your space, or your body, run through your body. One of the techniques that I was taught in my certification, and I included this in my class, I absolutely love this technique, is to envision that you have a balloon inside of your abdomen. And this balloon can, as you inhale, it expands, and as you exhale, it contracts. That's a really good visualization technique to kind of help you refocus your mind and get it focused on breathing instead of just focusing on inhaling and exhaling, which can be difficult for some of us when we're first starting out.
I love that. And these are just simple techniques that anyone could use,
Yes.
It takes a couple of minutes. I like that you mentioned, helping the central nervous system, because if our bodies are not in check and we're constantly in fight or flight, then we start creating dis-ease in the body,
We do.
triggering the sympathetic system,
Yes.
fight or flight, and of course repairing that with the negative feelings. So I like the practice of what you're saying, just focus on your breathing, using that specific technique, and then allowing yourself to really be present. I find, would you agree, the time that we're living in today with social media, we're not present, right? We're always on our devices, and that can cause stress as well. So for example, what happens, or what would you suggest for women that are on their devices, especially right before you go to bed, to really kind of get a nice reset?
Yeah, there's a few things that I have worked to put in practice around, when I first wake up and when I go to bed, because again, I'm still in the digital marketing space as well. So what's the first thing I need to do when I wake up in the morning is check my email, right? And usually it's from my phone. I don't get up and go answer or open my computer. And so I encourage people to, instead of watching TV, especially the news, I understand the importance of needing to get, or knowing what's going on in the world, right? But right before you go to bed, you don't want to plug your mind with negative information.
Like the news.
Like the news. No matter which channel you're watching or what your political views are. So I really encourage, instead of watching TV, maybe try to change that out for a book. And read a good book, a self-help book, or something that you're really interested in. Like I've got this magazine right now I'm reading on the brain, which is fascinating, and it's easy for me to pick up because I'm interested in the material. The breathing again. So I do focused breathing in the morning, and I do focused breathing at night. I also meditate both in the morning and at night. I know that, that's the path that I've chosen. So it's easy for me to make time for it. But if you meditate before you go to bed at night, what it does is it clears your mind. And for me, it helped remove some of those nightmares I was having, that crazy dreaming where my brain's trying to process all of the things from the day. And it just kind of allows your body to calm down and relax. Definitely, put your phone down. That was probably one of the biggest challenges I had to learn, because I was constantly attached to my phone, between my client Facebook accounts, me trying to build my own brand, Instagram. I mean, they're all over the place, right? So put your phone down, just consciously make a decision that 20 minutes before bed, I'm not going to look at that stuff, so that you're not going to bed with your mind focused on that.
I love that. And I definitely agree with the meditation at night. That's something I do on a daily basis. So I think that's really helpful. Kind of give ourselves a digital detox. Well, this has been absolutely amazing, great information. And before we go today, where can people learn about you and your work?
So for the mindfulness and meditation work, our website is Vacation of the Mind. We're also on Facebook and Instagram, so feel free to follow us there. We have a lot of different programs on our website. I've really tried to make it easy for anyone who wants to, become familiar with meditation or try it out. So we have everything from weekly meditation calls where one of our instructors gets on and leads the call for 30 minutes, all the way up to corporate wellness programs, individual coaching, events, all kinds of things. So it's really fun and exciting. Please watch our growth. And if you're in one of the areas where we have instructors and we're doing events, we'd love for you to come to attend one of the events.
I love it. I love it. And we will actually, if you're wherever you're watching or listening to this, you'll have the show notes so you can get all that information. And before I go today, if you've been watching or listening to me for a while, I had mentioned that I just released my new wine called Fierce Femme. And the whole premise is about creating a dialogue for change for women standing in our power. And my final message, and I have it right here, is to do this. If you're watching the video, vote Fierce.
Love it. Can't wait to try that. It's so exciting.
And know who you are, because when you do, it is like having a superpower. Until next time, everyone, this is Heather Picken. Take care. Bye-bye. So if you like what you hear on this podcast, please rate, review, and subscribe. Interested in becoming a sponsor or learning more about leadership for women's performance using neuroscience or business coaching, contact support@heatherpicken.com. And don't forget to grab my latest book, The La Dolce Vita Formula, by going to fearlessandfabulousbook.com. That's fearlessandfabulousbook.com.